I'm Anna Garliff, Communications Specialist for the Old Man Watershed Council. If you live in Southern Alberta, you know that our economy depends on thriving agriculture. This is the story of how science and technology, and the Old Man River, make that possible. Back in 1857, Captain John Palliser declared the region to be so dry it was unfit for the permanent habitation of man. Anxious to settle the West and continue the railway, the botanist Professor John McCune was sent back in 1879 for a second look. He reported enthusiastically about lush grasses that would become the breadbasket of Canada. How could Palliser have been so wrong, and McCune so right? Actually, both were wrong, and both were right. The Old Man Watershed has always been prone to flood and drought cycles. A simple look at the native plants that grow along the riverbanks will tell you that. For example, our big cottonwoods only propagate in the rich silt that follows a flood. Our rough fescue grasses have roots that tap down far, far into the ground. Palliser came during a dry cycle, when the last of the bison herds were still roaming, cropping the grasses short. At the time of McCune's expedition, the bison were gone, and so the grasses were long and ungrazed. And it was the middle of a wet cycle. Tens of thousands of immigrants arrived in Western Canada between the years of 1900 and 1914 alone. They could buy a quarter section of land for just $10. In Europe, farmers had plenty of rain. But now in Southern Alberta in Canada, they had to draw water from the Old Man by the pailful.
The soil here is very rich, and it's got the right type of soil. We've got the sunlight, we've got everything except water. So once they found a way to get water on the land, they knew they had something that was going to be good. No, we had some very intelligent people that dug ditches and used the contour of the land and using gravity to feed the water throughout the area and actually flooding the land. From flood irrigation, which is gravity fed, they went to pressurized water, which was fed through first hand move. There were pipes that were moved to different areas of the field, and then eventually they had wheel moves that rolled across the land, and from there they went into irrigation center pivots.
And so those need to be powered by solar, electricity? How do they run?
Their pumps are run by either by electricity or natural gas, and the pivots themselves are run by electricity.
These were also years of extensive trial and error in terms of understanding what grew best in the sandy soil. The answer? You guessed it, potatoes. Today, variable rate pivot systems are used throughout Southern Alberta, and specifically by the potato growers of Alberta. This brings huge advantages in terms of watershed health. First, they are low pressure, requiring less water and creating less evaporation. Second, this system irrigates only the areas that need it. Each nozzle can be turned on or off at a specific rate and at an exact height for the ground directly below it. Third, because there is less runoff, fewer chemicals find their way back into the river.
And the reason we grow wheat, as well as other crops such as canola and timothy and hay and all these crops, is because we need a rotation.
Okay.
And the rotation actually is what keeps our land strong, keeps it from erosion, either by water or by wind, and it builds up the organic matter in the soil.
So it's another way that you're helping manage water and manage the watershed.
That's right. So if you were to grow potatoes year after year after year, you would deplete all the organics in the soil, which eventually the land would erode to a point that you actually will ruin it.
Okay.
So by when we grow wheat, for instance, we combine the wheat and the straw gets spread back on the land and gets tilled back inside the soil, and it builds up the organic in the soils.
Today, data-driven agriculture and drone imagery provide clear opportunities to better understand changes over time. One of these changes is to our flood and drought cycles. Whether farmers believe in climate change or not, policies are being developed, and the potato growers of Alberta want a voice at the table. Known for his innovation in green energy and interest in sustainability, Chris Prairie represented the potato growers of Alberta at COP21.
And so climate change, in my opinion, is I think climate is extremely cyclical. I am not an expert on what climate change is about, other than it will be changing going forward. And so my real take on it is, how do we, with the technology development, just be the best that we can be whatever's coming out. So we have a certain amount of management capacity in what we do right now, which is phenomenal. I look at the technology coming and say, you know what, if we can use less electricity, if we can, support the public, what seems to be the public quest on reducing the carbon emissions by putting up a biogas plant. For me, that's not only a best practice, it's a best practice that fits perfectly into our operation that seems to fit in line. And I just don't see a lose scenario in the long run of what that independence from something like coal electricity may be doing.
Science and technology underscore everything farmers do. And for the potato growers of Alberta, that means better watershed management and health. We are all downstream. Thank you for watching.